Okie dokie. Hey guys, what's up? It's taylorskerritt and I am doing another university video. I am milking this university content baby. I'm so close to the end of my degree, so while I'm here, while I can, I'm gonna make this content, okay? So this video is all about part-time jobs that you take on at university, how to get them, my experiences and some tips that I can give you. Having a job at university for some people is an absolute necessity because tuition is expensive, bills are expensive, life is expensive, but whether or not you need to have a job, having a part-time job can always come in handy because having a little bit of extra cash is never a bad thing, especially at university. However, this is a very weird time to be talking about jobs at university because no one has them. Very few people have been able to get jobs at university or retain the jobs that they've had because of COVID-19, but I thought this knowledge could always be useful for the future, so people starting in September, people going into their second years, hello, third years, fourth years, whatever you're doing, if you're thinking about getting a job at university once this whole thing is over, then you're in the right place. So the first thing that you have to do whenever you want to apply for a job, whether you're at university or not, whether it's full-time, part-time, you need a CV. You need to write a CV, and it's kind of like a personal statement, but not really. Instead of it being like a big, wonderfully written thing about how amazing you are, it's just a bunch of factual things like this is what I got at GCSE, this is what I got at A-level, IB, whatever your qualifications are, these are any previous jobs that I've had, these are my skills and why you should hire me. That essentially is a CV. The second thing you want to think about when you're applying for a job at university is to remember that you are still at university. So this does need to be a part-time job. So most of the time you will enter into a 10-hour contract, and if they violate that and make you work more, leave that job. Not worth it, because not only do you have to keep up with your university that you're paying loads and loads of money for and therefore do not want to fail, but you also need to have a bit of downtime and social life as well. So make sure it is being flexible enough for you that you can do the things that you want to do but still be making enough money. In most cases for jobs like this you get more shifts on the weekends and maybe some evenings or early in the mornings before lectures. But don't get a job that's midweek working 9 till 5 because then you won't be able to actually attend your university lectures or other classes. Next thing you have to think about is what sort of job do you want? So do you want to be working in hospitality as a waitress or a barman, or do you want to be working in retail? Do you want to be an online tutor, or do you want to work actually for the university at like a student information desk? All of these jobs will have different sorts of shifts, such as a barman is often working more in the evenings, a waitress is often working lunch and evening times, an online tutor you work midday but you can set your own times and you're working from home. And working for the university I think is probably really quite flexible because they will completely take your education into account because you are getting a degree with that university itself. Those are just a few examples of jobs you can get. There are so many different things you can do. You might even get an internship, but you just have to think, what is it that you want to do and how flexible is that job? Next thing you want to think about is transport. Do you have a car that could mean you can get a job way further out, or do you have a really solid bus system that you can use to get around, or do you just have to walk to your job? As well as this, you also have to think about how much you want to travel. You might want to be working as a barista in the morning and then be able to walk to your class. Now on to how exactly to get a job. Once you've written your CV, the world is your oyster, and I suggest 3 main ways of how to get jobs and how to apply for jobs. The first one is quite simply to go online and to search for things that you're interested in online and see if they're hiring. For example, if you wanted to work in retail, you could search up paper chase and see if they're hiring. Often on websites they will have a contact us section where they will have phone numbers or email so you can get in contact with them and ask them how to apply for a job, or just pop them an email and attach your CV. The second way that you can apply for a job at university is to literally walk around town. So walk around your local area if you're near your halls or in your student house and see, there's coffee shops around the corner from my house, are they hiring? And most places will have signs on the door that say, hey, we're hiring, or we're looking for a chef, or we're looking for a pot wash. But a really easy way to multitask while you're going through town and picking up your shopping or doing whatever tasks you need to do. You can see a sign in a shop window or on a cafe door and you can just take a photo of it and then you can decide whether or not you want to apply later. I don't know why I forgot to mention it, but hi, Editing Taylor, I'm going to mention it now. If you print off your CV, and there'll be printers around university and at some accommodations they have printers as well. Maybe you have your own, I don't know. But if you print off your CV and you walk around town with it and you see a shop that's hiring, or you see a place that doesn't specifically say that they're hiring but you'd like to work there, there's nothing wrong with you just going in and saying, here's my CV. It's as simple as that. The third way to apply for a job at university, and actually the way that I got my job at university, is to go to a careers fair. Now, universities will always have employability emails and events that you can go to where you can meet people and potentially get internships, but they also have careers fairs very much like a freshers fair, but instead of it being societies that you sign up for, different brands and companies will come into your university and they will set up stalls and you can just walk around and see what fancies you. This is actually how I got my job at university. I signed up to a recruitment agency. A recruitment agency is like a middleman between you and a job. Instead of you working 50 shifts at a Costa, and that's your part-time job, at a recruitment agency you might do one shift at a Costa, another as a barman at a wedding, the third one working as a housekeeper. So this job is all over the place and you get to experience loads of different things, which is partially why I absolutely loved it. And the second reason why I loved it was that you could say no. With a lot of these jobs, they give you set shifts and that's it. What I loved so much about the recruitment agency was any time that something didn't work with my schedule, or if I was all of a sudden busier because I had an exam or an essay deadline coming up, I could just say no thank you and they would move on to someone else. This was my absolute favourite thing, and I know loads of other people who had part-time jobs but didn't work with a recruitment agency that didn't do as well in an essay that they thought they could have done because their boss refused to give them the night off. While my time with this recruitment agency was quite short because of COVID, and I only worked with them from the beginning of my second year till then March when everything closed and I went home, I had a really good time and I worked in a load of different places. And this is not sponsored by recruitment agencies. I realise it kind of sounds like I'm bigging them up loads right now, but this is just my personal opinion. Now, I was at Exeter University and I did a bunch of different shifts with them in that short time. I worked at a children's party, I worked at a garden centre over Christmas time and helped out with all the Christmas trees, giving them away to all these families. I worked in cafes, I worked at a night rave, but my favourite shift was actually a recurring one at Sandy Park Rugby Stadium. Now, this is of course a part-time job itself, which you can apply for if you're going to Exeter University, and it's quite a popular one amongst the students. They're always needing more runners, barmen, people working outside, inside as waitresses, everything. They need people everywhere at Sandy Park. But I did this as a recurring shift. Every time there was a match, so that was on Saturdays or Sundays, I would work a full 10 to 12 hours at Sandy Park. I started off as a pot wash for about 3,000 people, which was a lot, but we always had loud music on and it was really good fun. And then after that I went outside and I worked the stands and I fed people hot dogs and burgers, and unfortunately I worked at the only stand where you couldn't see the game. But I had a really good time there and I always came home with loads of food. Don't tell the managers, I don't think you were supposed to do that, but shh. So if you are thinking about getting a part-time job at university, I fully recommend you give it a go, even if it is just for a short while or for a few shifts. I would 100% recommend getting a job with a recruitment agency or with the university, because those two will be the most flexible with your university degree. I hope this was interesting and helpful to you all. If you are still here, do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, turn those notifications on so you know every single time I post, and comment down below any more tips or questions that you may have, because I read every single comment and I love interacting with you guys. Bye guys. Skirt! The sun does not exist today, so we're filming with indoor lights. I hope the lighting's not awful. Actually, it kind of looks like one of my better lightings. That's kind of awkward.